Brochachos.
Brochachos. You're definitely my brochacho, Jeff.
Aw, you're definitely my brochacho.
But there's so much friendships in wrestling. Some of the
Yes.
greatest storylines in wrestling history have revolved around friendship.
And the
that's
ruining
what
of.
and the ruining of. But like, for a time the friendship is strong and good, and the mega powers are running wild across the WWF. Or Adam Cole and MJF, the brochachos, are the like highest rated segment of every episode of AEW. Like, this is the hottest angle basically that they've ever had.
It makes sense too, because who doesn't like to see friendship? And particularly because I think it helps get people even more invested in things, right? Like, who hasn't had a good friend that you have an awesome time with? You win some titles, you travel the world, and then suddenly it falls apart. My only hope with the brochachos, though, is that they don't do the thing where they like tease the breakup for ever, and then by the time it comes, you're just like, I'm tired of watching this happen. So I would like to see it happen quickly and swiftly and severely.
I think we all sort of like, if you were watching the Sasha Banks Bailey thing play out, did they ever actually get to one of them turning on the other? Like, it seemed like it was teased for so long, but eventually everyone was just over it.
Well, I think one of them got hurt.
Yeah, that's probably how it went, but
seems likely.
Yeah. But it was definitely a case of like, they never really pulled the trigger on the friendship breakup angle.
And they never really got a chance to. I think that's just because Sasha Banks, unfortunately, every time she'd start getting some momentum or building a storyline, something would happen and it'd be derailed. Either an injury or a personal issue, or not wanting to be a wrestler in the company anymore, something like that.
Right.
But their friendship too, even when they were enemies in NXT, right? Like, that friendship was key to it. That's why there was so much heat, so much passion, so much fire, because they had a close relationship. Would you say, though, that the Mega Powers is the template for all other friendship-based tag teams dissolving?
I'm not sure if it would be the template. I mean, it's a very famous example. But it wasn't so much about like Hogan and Macho Man being friends that was like played up. It was that they were tag team partners and taking on all the bad guys. And they were friends. And then Elizabeth kind of tore apart that friendship because Macho Man was insecure and controlling. And so there was a lot of other elements to the Mega Powers storyline that weren't friendship based. I think that even though it just happened a few years ago, I think Chris Jericho and Kevin Owens in many ways, I don't want to say like perfected the friendship angle, but they did it very, very well. And it's this new thing with friendship angles that has just really sort of taken place in the last few years, because the audience is just more like
friendly,
aware of different no, the audience is just kind of more aware of where storylines tend to go and things like that. So if you present a friendship angle now, every like a large percentage of the fans that aren't kids are aware that one of these guys is going to eventually turn on the other. And so then that gets the audience asking the question, oh, is he going to turn on him, or will he turn on him? Or will it, like, when will it happen? Who will do it? Who's turning babyface? Who's turning heel? And those sorts of debates just get the fans more invested in the product. And I think with Chris Jericho and Kevin Owens, you always knew in the back of your head, somebody's turning on somebody here. But when's it going to happen, and how is it going to happen? And there's a similar feeling with Adam Cole and MJF.
Who do you think will turn on that?
See, that's the thing. I can go back and forth because they've actually teased both guys being the one to turn,
A
right?
simultaneous double turn.
Well, that's possible. What if they both try to turn on the other one? Like, there's so many different possibilities that could happen. So Adam Cole could turn on MJF, then Adam Cole would turn heel. Maybe he wins the title. That could definitely happen. And they're sort of teasing like, well, if Adam Cole does turn heel, maybe he'll align with Roderick Strong in the Kingdom. So like that's been planted. But so they've planted that seed, like, oh, maybe Adam Cole is going heel. But they've also planted the seed with MJF, because we've seen MJF kind of look at Adam Cole a little bit when Adam Cole was looking at his title, and so they've dropped hints that either one could be turning on the other. And I think that's what or part of the reason why this angle is so popular, gets such good ratings, is because people are invested in it. They're talking about it and they want to see what's going to eventually happen.
To theorize what's going to eventually happen, I think I need to ask you this. MJF as a face, has it worked?
Absolutely. Yeah.
All right.
But here's the trick, and I'm sure they know this. MJF's character can never be a babyface. MJF's character is a heel, but MJF's character is sort of a manipulative dick and knows how to act like a babyface to get the fans on his side, right? That character is awesome.
So he could turn, and then Adam Cole has a babyface run, and maybe they chase each other around for a few months, leading into the next show. Or Cole could turn, and then we have an extended MJF babyface chase the title program, which I don't know if MJF needs that. I think he's pretty solidified one way or the other.
Yeah.
And who knows, maybe like a certain leader of a cult of personality shows up with his special spray painted title and is like, hello, what are we going to do about this? And you know, we talked a little bit about like the Jericho and Kevin Owens friendship, which was great, and they obviously like each other and have a lot of you know, similar interests, and they both like weird tattoos, you know. But they were awesome, but it was always, you could tell they were performing, right?
Yeah. Well,
whereas
I mean,
with
guys
Edge
from
and
like
Christian,
2 different generations. Yeah.
With Edge and Christian, you're like, you felt like you were watching two buddies goofing around, you know?
Yeah. Well, with Edge and Christian too, like for me personally, probably for you as well, because Edge and Christian, they grew up near us. Like they were in Orangeville. I know they say Toronto, but they were in Orangeville. And so they're, you know, a few years older than us. They're like what like our generation's older brothers around Toronto were like, right? So I remember reading Edge's book, and he talked about how like him and Christian got into a fight over playing NHL 94. I was like, I used to get into fights with people over NHL 94. We all did.
Man.
So, I can relate with you. I'm going to follow your whole career.
I played NHL 94 on my home PC with a joystick.
Yes.
Like an arcade joystick setup. That's how that worked. That was weird. But yeah, they were exactly like you say, like they were the cool older kids. You know, if we were the third graders, they were the sixth graders that were like, those guys are adults and have it together, you know, and things like that. And then you become a sixth grader and you're like, what is this?
I thought these guys were cool.
Yeah.
Why are they posing for 5 seconds?
Why are all those other kids so little?
We've got about 8 minutes left in our first session on the cheap Zoom. I did want to talk about the Young Bucks and friendship angles. The Young Bucks,
that's an interesting angle because they're brothers. That's not just
they
friendship.
are brothers, but their Being the Elite YouTube show is like the longest running friendship angle in wrestling. And it played such an important role in sort of setting up AEW, because they would have these angles going on BTE that would end up playing out in New Japan Pro Wrestling or Ring of Honor, which is where they were wrestling at the time. But they built up this whole thing about Cody, feeling like he was the real leader of the Bullet Club. They did all that on YouTube, and it was, teasing guys that were going to turn on others, teasing that guys were going to align and other people were going to, and just that kind of drama. The Young Bucks really, like, almost everything they do is kind of based around those stories. And I think the best example of a wrestling friendship angle taking place during a match is at AEW Revolution 2020, a few weeks before the world shut down. It was Kenny Omega and Hangman Page were the tag team champions, and they were defending against the Young Bucks. But for months leading up to that on AEW TV, but also on Being the Elite, there were all these teases that Hangman Page was going to turn heel, that he was going to turn on Kenny Omega, he was going to turn on the Young Bucks. But they built up this stuff where the Young Bucks were getting frustrated with Hangman Page, but then Kenny Omega was also his tag team partner. So there was all these little dynamics, and they all came into play during the match. I think only Austin versus Brett at WrestleMania 13 can rival that match in terms of psychology. It is very good. I am a fan of that match, would be the main bullet point I would like to put there. It's one of the greatest matches I've ever seen. Come on now. I would rank that match, that tag team match, as one of the greatest wrestling matches I've seen in my life. Absolutely.
That's good. Well, that's high praise in and of itself. I think that Zack Ryder walked so that the Young Bucks could run.
Yeah.
When it comes to that stuff, like they really saw, the Young Bucks, for all of their like foibles, you either love them or you hate them kind of thing.
Yeah.
I'm kind of, to be completely honest, I'm kind of indifferent to the Young Bucks as thing. Like I enjoy their matches, and but I don't watch Being the Elite. I don't regularly subscribe to all the stuff that they're going on, but I respect how much that they are willing to modernize and embrace things like that. You know what I mean? Like it very, you think about things like, when the Hardys were zipping around to all the tag to get all the tag belts from all the different promotions. When Kenny Omega is doing the belt collector thing, if you don't have the Young Bucks telling stories that play off in multiple promotions via their YouTube page, does any of that stuff really work?